We live in a land paid for by blood, a country that was built up from sticks and mud. Our ancestors crossed 1,000 miles over the ocean, leaving behind a past that was negative emotion. When they first sighted land, they all jumped overboard and swam. They couldn't believe they were living in freedom. The government they once had didn't need them. It was tough during the first days, figuring this strange land. Many grouped together and started a plan. They knew they needed something to keep them in line. This is when they wrote the Constitution, man, it was divine. A bunch of men agreeing never lost their mind. They gave us all our freedom, one amendment at a time. And when they finished writing, 39 men had to sign. We have freedom, you can't take away. The Constitution guarantees that, so take your false authority and go the fuck away. The next 200 years came with a price. A bunch of men and women gave the ultimate sacrifice. They did it for the people alive today. You don't hear very many taking 3 times to say thank you, whoever you are, who gave your life, and for their families left on earth alone for their life. Thank you for your gift, the life that you gave. It lets us live as free men. Oh, glory we will wave. Now we are here in 2025, a year led by selfishness. It's no surprise the government is taking over. It's a friggin' mess. Our kids are being taken by people who must be diseased. Who the hell gave them that power? These actions need to cease. So listen up, you voted officials, we are here to say you need to pay attention to issues, because we aren't going away. We come bearing the Constitution, we'll recite it if we may. We the people is how it begins. The words that follow, you can fill them in, because they are true as they were meant to be. You're taking our freedoms one at a time. No one's paying attention except for us reciting these lines. You don't get to take away the rights we were given. Taking away our children should get you in prison. I'm not messing around, it's no laughing matter. Give our children freedom, or feel your teeth shatter. We are the ones who make the decisions. You lost track of your job, we're here to petition. This is your final chance. America doesn't need to fight a civil war. We just need you politicians to hit the door. So do the right thing and leave this city of Washington, or turn things around, give us something to pawn again. Give us back our children, not one at a time.
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
share that with the people that are bringing up this argument. This out of the Constitution, Article 6, Section 2, known as the Supremacy Clause. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which are made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. So these folks that are saying that you should not be involved with the federal government, you should not be supporting this, you're supporting the law of the land. You're cooperating with the law of the land. And when the federal government is operating in pursuance thereof to the Constitution, to the rule of law, it's the supreme law of the land. Let me read something to you, and you can share that with the people that are bringing up this argument. This out of the Constitution, Article 6, Section 2, known as the Supremacy Clause. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. So these folks that are saying that you should be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. So these folks that are saying that you should not be involved with the federal government, you should not be supporting this, you're supporting the law of the land.
So there it is, Tiff.
So
Turn your mic
I'm
on.
so glad that you brought this up tonight. So before I go into what I'm about to go into, I got a direct message for somebody. Attorney Ed Harvey in Iowa, phone number 1-641-919-8696. I'm challenging you right now to come on Tiff and the Punisher show. So before I go any further, I'm going to explain to our guests why I'm so fucking mad tonight. So I get a call, and the person that called me can acknowledge it if they want. If not, they don't have to, which is fine with me. So their attorney, Mr. Harvey, told them we are spewing conspiracies. We're spewing them. Okay? Not only that, we are not correctly or incorrectly doing case laws. It's not law. So this guy said, well, what's the thank you, Dr. Death. So what's the law of the land? This lawyer said the law of the land was Idaho or Iowa law. No, the law of the land is what? Oh, we just heard it from the dude on the video, the Constitution of the United States. So he's also, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty much told Dr. Death when Dr. Death said, well, what you're going by is code, statutes, and whatever. And he was told that was law. And actually, codes, regulations, ordinance, policies, procedures, all that bullshit, it's not law. And if you really were to read a lot of this bullshit, it violates the 14th or the Constitution, the big one. And if you look at your state constitution, which mirrors the Constitution, they're breaking state constitution law too. I'm so pissed.
Policy and code.
Right?
Policy, code, and procedure. It's trumping it.
Right. So how dare you, Mr. Harvey? I really would like to know where you got your law license, because you don't have a license. That's right. Nobody has a law license. I really would like to know where you went to school, because advocates are winning, not lawyers, because you are part of the problem. You're part of the problem. I think Gunnar has something to say about this.
Not part. Hey, everybody, too. By the way, Tammy, what's up? Alicia, our manager's here. We got Louie in the house. We got Gangle Thinking. We got Debbie's in here. We got a full house here. We got, hey, what's up, everybody? We don't want to miss you, but let's see what Gunner's got a lot to let off his chest. We got Renee here. That's right, Renee. It's called breaching their charter. You're absolutely right.
Well,
I think
who we got
ready.
pissed off today?
Well, I already pissed him off, Gunner. So you two just go ahead and elaborate on what we're already talking about.
The ignorance of this person, the fact they have a degree, shows the complete ignorance in how these people should not be practicing anything. Because here's the one thing, and Tiff brought it up, she kind of nipped at the skirt tail of it. Every state constitution has a default statement in there that the Constitution of the United States of America, the very first one under their statehood, is the default rule of law that they must all follow. For that man to do that, a professional responsibility, whatever it is in that state, you guys need to just file this just due to the fact that this ignorant fool has actually made this statement and holds a license to practice.
Well, there is no license, but yeah.
But once again, that the bar issues these cards and that the state does give licensing for these things. That's a conflict of interest if he's that damn ignorant, because here's the issue. Ignorance of the law does not negate your responsibility for breaking the law. And codes, here's the other thing we've brought up on our show, we've brought up on other shows. The codes and statutes and policies and procedures, here's the other issue. They must be constitutionally sound. Otherwise, they're null and void. That's it.
Let me tell you, if that man had said that shit in front of me, I would have, one, laughed in his face, and two, I'd have been like, it would have just fell out of my mouth. You're fired.
Listen, this is what's happening, and we're seeing this across the land. This is the mass corruption that is happening within the Bar Association. And I'm just going to say this, is that we're not taking and into the fact of they're not doing what they're supposed to do with these rules, regulations, policies, procedures, and codes that by the very nature, or even their own codes and policies are supposed to be running these things all through the state law librarian to make sure they're constitutional. And they're not doing it. This is why you've got people that are showing up now on videos and everything else that are sitting on even town councils and city councils or even county councils that are turned around, and somebody speaking up of saying, we can't implement this because it's so unconstitutional, even with gun laws. I think the subject lately that's been going on is on gun laws. We can't put this in there because actually, if we put that in there, everybody that votes this in and says yes has just committed an act of treason. This is not the time and the place in our country to do stupid. Those days are over. The people are awake, and we're not going to tolerate this. We have had enough. And the mass corruption, we've talked about people, Darren and I and the rest of us, were talking about the financial infrastructure, completely imploding or this or that, with the possibility of the removal of the Fed, the removal of the IRS, the removal of ATF, of all these things that are unconstitutional. And so they should be, as well as all these gun laws. They're null and void when they put them on, and it's just as simple. Go to the federal court and challenge it. But that's not the way it's supposed to be. They're supposed to already have this in place to where these stupid things don't even happen. But it's just like everything else that CPS does and everything else, all these court systems go. They are feeling they have the freedom to interpret and or pass these things, that they don't have that power to pass laws, to make laws. States can't even make laws. They do what? Statutes and codes. Why?
Mhm.
Because that power solely rests with Congress. And you hear cops say, well, you've broken a state law or a state, a state this and that, and they'll read it. And I've had these conversations with people, even some of the local sheriffs. I says, and when you write that up, what's the number of the code for it? And they'll give you the code for it. I says, that's a code, not a law. Look under Black's Law Dictionary, and there is a huge difference, even in definition, between a law and a code and a statute, as defined by the courts.
Right, because the law, the Constitution law is very clear. It says, do no harm, destroy no property. That is it. Those are the only two quote unquote laws that we live by.
Listen, we have case law that helps us interpret according to our times or just to technologies, everything else, and kind of not so much redefine, but clarify is the idea. It's a guide.
Yes,
But
it's a guide. It's an opinion by another judge.
By another judge, it's an opinion, but it can't be reversed or back and forth until SCOTUS says, no, this is our decision. And that's why those cases go to SCOTUS of saying, no, the law is interpreted this way, and this is the way everybody will interpret it, including the states, including the lower courts, which is the Supreme Court. This is the way you will rule when this topic comes up. That's the way it goes. And here's the problem. They've had the freedom to interpret, and that's over with. That power has been taken away even with recent case law. For administrative law judges, there is no interpretation. These are the letters and the rules you must follow. This is not for you to interpret. And the problem is they've been doing this for so long that they're so used to it. No, I don't have to do it. I've been doing it for 20 years this way. Listen, even as a master electrician, as new technology comes up and this and that, as as a retired man, one of the things we had to keep up with technology changes is we had to understand we had to adapt, which is why our code, our National Electric Code, is a living, breathing thing. It adapts to the technology, and we have to update the codes, okay, for the new technology to make sure that it is done and is done properly and is done safely. Sometimes, listen, I've put in equipment, there's no code on it. There's nothing in the code, and I had to basically write the code as I went along. Well, let's follow some of the other rules we know as a guideline on how we're going to proceed. And that's what these case laws do, is they take other case laws and they say, I'm using these as a point of reference to go and base this decision off of, but I could be wrong in my interpretation. But you have to be flexible. Now, we do have federal codes, right? USC codes, right? United States code. The US has a code too. And that's for what? Corporations, business, and governments to follow. It's not for we the people. But once again, these are administrative law courts. They are not common law courts. Do you know where your common law courts? Now, some of them states do have them, but your federal court, your 1983 court, those other things that deal with constitutional issues, those are common law courts. Did you know that you could go in as a pro se litigant and clarify on the record before you start, to clarify that the Constitution was written under common law, which it was, and therefore to adjudicate anything that is in constitutional, it has to be a common law court, court of claims, 1983 court. All these other courts that are up and through there, things that are of federal crimes that don't affect. And here's a lot of people mistake. They say, well, how do criminals get into federal court because it's a multi-jurisdictional, multi-state crime. That's how it qualifies. That's why if it crosses state lines, no state can ever adjudicate. Now, a lot of you are saying I've had CPS cases where they've crossed state lines. The state doesn't have jurisdiction because it's federal. You cross state lines, but they're not going to do that. And then, so when you do your filings, you're going to do a jurisdictional challenge because, and the reason for it is it's multiple state. And because it's multiple state, the code, the federal code says it must be federal because no one state can take precedence over the other and they have a bias. And you have to lead that. Why? Because you have to have a fair and impartial trial is what you're supposed to have. But we've been caught up with comfort. Listen, we covered this, Darren and I covered this on my show when we went over the Declaration of Independence. And it even says in the Declaration of Independence that we will tolerate evils. So, tyranny up to a certain point until it breaks us. Then we must shake it off, destroy it, overthrow it, and then reinstitute another one and then protect with that new government to make sure what happened before never happens again. This is the beauty of our Constitution that a lot of people don't understand, and our founding documents, such as the Declaration of Independence. This is why they don't teach this shit in school.
So, Gunner, I had a couple of my people come back and tell me that they asked for a jury trial under SEC, right?
Right.
And they were told that does not apply in state court. That's only federal court. I said, that's bullshit.
That's constitutional law. You have one. You have a right to a trial by jury. You have a right to face your accuser. That's called due process. You have a right to defend yourself and collect evidence and present your evidence in any and all courts, even administrative. But here's the beauty that most don't understand. Administrative law judges, they don't have the power. They're not in Article 3. Most of these family courts, they're Article 4, and they've overstepped their bounds. And what does Article 4 deal with? Title 4, child support.
All the funding.
And family court is a division of civil court. Therefore, and correct me if I'm wrong, Darren, must follow the rules of federal civil procedure.
Well, I mean, the Constitution clearly states that that's the law of the land, period. So that's it. And I'm going to do this right here. So we're going to clarify this right now. Black's Law, right here. The book, not the digital form. So,
paper, baby. You can smell the paper. Mm-hmm. You can rub the binding.
All right. The statute is a law passed by a legislative body, specific legislation enacted by any lawmaking body, including legislators, administrative boards, and municipal courts. But hold on. We are not justified in limiting the statutory law to those rules only which are promulgated by what we commonly call legislators. Any positive enactment to which the state gives the force of a law is a statute, whether it has gone through the usual stages of legislative proceedings or has been adopted in other modes of expressing the will of the people or other sovereign power of the state. In an absolute monarchy, an edict of the ruling sovereign is statutory law. Constitutions, being direct legislation by the people, must be included in statutory law.
Now, Alicia's got to come in here. They claim the privacy of children. They won't open up family juvenile court up to jury trial. Well, isn't child abuse a criminal code and thing? And they slap a criminal code on it in that family court. Then it does demand a jury trial. Matter of fact, guys, when I hit the actual courtroom for my case, it's one of the things that will be addressed and will be ruled on. Because it will be brought up.
Okay, a code is a complete system of positive law, carefully arranged and officially promulgated, a systemic collection of revisions of laws, rules, or regulations. Strictly, a code is a compilation not just of existing statutes, but also of much of the unwritten law on a subject, which is newly enacted as a complete system of law. A code is not only a collection of existing statutory law, but also much of the unwritten law of any subject, and is composed partly of such materials as might be at hand from all sources, from statutes, cases, and from customs, supplemented by such amendments, alterations, and additions as are deemed by the codifiers necessary to harmonize and perfect the existing system. In fact, is making a code, new laws may be added and old laws repealed in order to constitute a complete system. Again, doesn't have to do, the Constitution says what?
Well, let's go back. Let me address it this way, Darren. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and you guys have watched that video where CPS said whether or not we could get people to lie under oath, this and that. And it goes under the fact that the Supreme Court in that case specifically says that the Constitution is not only implied and should be implied and not omitted, but everything that is written within those codes and statutes, that the Constitution is already implied within those statutes and codes,
Which they are not.
and they're not.
Right.
And then the judge goes on to turn around and go, it's common sense. It's already established. Doesn't this case over here that's not been overturned, Costanza? I think you mentioned Costanza. Isn't it well established with this here, and here that they're doing this? But once again, the Supreme Court is ruling. There is federal case law that is redefining or giving their opinion of or saying the Constitution is. The issue is these codes and statutes are saying, well, the Constitution is kind of open to interpretation. No, it is absolute.
Mm-hmm.
And it was addressed in that case, and as it is in every other one. Why are we even, once again, you saw the frustration of the judge in that particular case. Why are we even having this stupid conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you think it was okay to lie, to take children and destroy families? Why would you think this is okay?
So I just went through my notes real quick. So I want people to remember. Now, remember, I said that there's a saying, and it's the butts stop here, Mr. Lee. And this is what Butts versus Economy and United States versus Lee says. No man or woman in this country is so high that he is above the law. No officer of the law may set that law as defense with impunity. All officers of the government, from the highest to the lowest, are creatures of the law, and they are bound to obey it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you tell them that, the judge knows what the hell you're saying. If not, just hit me up. I'll send you the whole damn paperwork. But I'm also looking for where the United States Supreme Court said codes, statutes, rules, regulations, and policies are not laws, no matter how much they look like law.
Yeah. Right. And it says right there, it says unwritten law. So that's just whatever you want to make up can be that. Right. That's not law at all.
Okay. So let's address some of those unwritten laws that are supposed to be common sense laws. And a lot of people don't understand the structure of law. What's the highest law there is?
Natural law.
God's law.
Right.
You can't pass a law and say, God, you can't do this. You can't have births on this day of the week and this and that. Otherwise, we'll execute all the babies. You can't do that. You can't hold back the tide. There are certain things within nature you cannot control. And it already says you can't even pass a law on it. You can't even make a restriction on it. Makes you kind of wonder about those ring collection things, doesn't it? But we're not going to go there.
Here's another one.
And what's above that? What's next? What's the next law? What's the next highest law?
What?
Trust law. What's right below that? Contract law. Do you realize our Constitution falls under contract law? Wow.
No, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So here's
I think treaty law is in there somewhere right in between that. I think treaty and trust almost go hand in hand when it comes to those. So treaties are way up there. And treaties are a form of contract, but it's also a form of trust because it's bonded some way, if I remember from what I read there. But we can't go beyond. We can't stretch above. And this is what these judges are doing. You're stretching beyond your given authority.
Well, here's one. Here's a good one. It's a little blurry, so bear with me. It says constitutionally and in fact of law, all judicial rulings, state and federal, magistrate judges, or any government actor, state or federal, may now be held liable if they violate any citizen's constitutional rights, privileges,
immunities,
or immunities, and guarantees, including statutory civil rights. A judge is not immune from torturous, I think that's what it says, a little blurry, acts committed in a purely administrative, non-judicial capacity. What? Tell your lawyer to suck a dick.
But see, Tiff, this is the infection that we're seeing happening all across the country, including the fact of here's the checks and balances system. And this is why I say, and I will justify why I say the bar is corrupt.
The bar is corrupt.
Because, well, and here's why. Because under the checks and balances system, attorneys under their oath are supposed to or obligated to report the judges in the courtroom when they see them breaking the Constitution or due process or anything else, but they don't because of fear of retaliation. Because if I report a judge, well, here's the other thing that's this corrupt. Who takes and evaluates those attorneys, whether or not they're doing something good or bad, or go before an ethics committee or this committee or whenever you make those reports? To the bar. And who sits on those bar committees? The judges.
Lawyers and judges.
The judges.
Lawyers sit on them too, at least here.
So you have the thief judging the den of thieves.
Right. They can't police themselves. Right. That's what they're doing. If they police themselves, they will never find any fault ever.
No.
So it says right here.
They get caught.
It says right here, check this out. It says, with such overwhelming case laws, there's no question about the fact of the claim made here. Statutes are not law. A plaintiff in the court now challenges prosecution and the magistrate to prove the statutes apply to plaintiff. The plaintiff denies being a government employee. If the prosecution or state or magistrates wish to say different, then prove I have been a paid employee of federal or state government. As well as Article 1, Section 8, Clause 14 says clearly, the government makes the rules for the government, not the people. And that's Cruden versus Neal. Constitutionally, a statutory presumption cannot be sustained if there be no rational connection between the fact proved and the ultimate fact presumed. Statutes apply only to state-created creatures known as corporations, no matter whether creatures of statute and offices of state and local or federal government. That's Colonial Pipeline versus Tragle. A statute will not be presumed to have extraterritorial effect outside the territorial jurisdiction of the legislature over persons residing outside the territorial jurisdiction of the legislature. A statute is not a law. And that's Florini versus First National Bank. A code or statute is not law. And that's another one in the Flournoy versus National Bank. A concurrent or joint resolution of legislature is not law. That's Cohen versus Flynn. And the list goes on and on and on. There's many things out here. All codes, rules, and regulations are for government authorities only, not human creators, in accordance with God's law. All codes, rules, and regulations are unconstitutional and lacking due process.
Mm-hmm.
Your lawyer is a fucking idiot, Dr. Death. And now I want that motherfucker to come on our show. I am fucking fired up. Every word is coming out of my mouth is fuck. So you tell that jerk I want him.
But here, let me finish that. After lacking due process, it says, in that they are void for ambiguity in their failure to specify the statute's applicability to natural persons, otherwise depriving the same of fair notice, as their construction by definition of terms apply identifies the applicability of such statutes to artificial or fictional corporate entities or persons, creatures of statute, or those by contract employed as agents or representatives, departmental subdivisions, offices, officers, and property of the government, but not the natural person or American citizens immune from such jurisdictions of the legalism.
Darren, you got that Black's Law Dictionary. Look up the term natural. I'm trying to see the different editions that they've kept it the same. Because I believe it's defined as something natural, as something living.
My advice.
Ever wonder where they come from, that living man thing?
Yeah. My advice to all you people out here whose lawyers are telling you the bullshit that they told Dr. Death today, I think you should tell them to watch Tiff and the Punisher and Gunning for CPS and the ADA. I think you should just direct them all to our show. Because I'm telling you, they're so uneducated. I'm telling you, I could go to the Cracker Jack box right now and get a law degree.
It says, natural is in accord with the regular course of things in the universe and without accidental or purposeful interference. Normal proceedings from the regular character of a person or thing. And then it also says a person who is native to a place is natural.
I think we're all natural then. We're all natural born people of the United States. Am I right or wrong? I mean, I don't know.
Well, some people have a little bit more silicone than others, but yeah, I'm not going to go.
Right. Hey, don't knock plastic, buddy. There's nothing wrong with rubber.
Listen here, man. I enjoyed my G.I. Joes when I was younger.
No, well, maybe you have a problem because I went with the Barbie. So, I mean, you should have learned.
Oh my God, you two are terrible.
You can't strip an outfit off of a G.I. Joe guy.
Okay,
yeah, you'll notice one thing about the Barbie, though. She always got the house. She always got the car. She always got the everything.
She sure did.
Yep. Poor Ken.
Ken was always that.
You know what? Ken
was always the metrosexual.
Spanny said federal capta law is allowed in all courtrooms or courthouses.
What's up, Brian? Brian in the house.
Yeah, listen, man. There's some people that
they sure do, Alicia. Alicia says Iowa's attorneys walk you straight to TPR and do not fight for their clients, even the paid attorneys, not just the public defenders. Because you know why? Because any lawyer's first obligation is to the courts.
Yep.
It says that right in their oaths. Their first, I don't know if it's not their oath, but it's in their books. It puts it right to them. It says that.
And here's the thing: if you educate yourself and you don't fall for their trap, because you got to understand too, when you retain an attorney, you go before the courts, and the court's purview of you is that you're ignorant.
That's why you can't speak, man. You don't. It's either you're dead because you don't exist, or you're crazy. You're a lunatic. You're a pauper, right? Isn't that what it is? Pauper, or whatever they call you. You don't have the education to speak in that courtroom. That's why you have to have someone speak for you.
Till you turn around and file on all the bastards and turn around and end all their careers, and then I guess they, fuck around and find out.
Well, some people have to get lawyers because some people's mouths just get out of control, and we just hire them to speak because
That's called a babysitter, Tiff, not a lawyer.
because some of us will end up in jail.
Mhm.
I'm
But
just
listen
saying.
here. Even when you're read your rights, do you realize when they turn around and those officers turn around, you have the right to an attorney
Yeah, no,
or
it's
a
not that
lawyer?
at all. It's not that.
No,
You have a right to
because
representation. You have a right to representation.
You have the
you have a
right
right
to
to
counsel.
counsel.
All right.
You realize they are actually advertising for the bar and committing a felony when they read those. And when they say, were you read your rights? No, I wasn't. Why? Because you said attorney, not counsel. Well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. Counsel can be anyone.
That's
and
right.
doesn't require a license.
And let me tell you, I got paperwork right here in my house that Judge Athys wrote on because I, as a non-lawyer, as counsel, was going to step in and help my husband, right? Her own handwriting. I got it. I saved it. Miss Wise, 1, is not a party to this case, and 2, she is not a lawyer. Request denied. Okay.
You know how you turn that around? Hold on. You know how you return that on them? So when I file that paperwork on you attorneys and lawyers, what's that form called?
Say it again. I didn't hear you.
When you file against an attorney, the one that represents you or anything else, stuff like that, what's the name of that form?
Oops. It's not misrepresentation, but it's something to that effect.
Ineffective counsel.
Yep.
Not lawyer, not attorney.
Counsel. You're
counsel.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Show me there where, because those are defined differently also in Black's Law Dictionary.
Hey, this is an interesting thing here. Alexandria asks us, she goes, I just do not know who to report this company funded by foster kids contracted with DCFS to.
Who's the company?
Is contracted, who the company funded by foster kids contracted with GCFS to?
Department of Health and Human Services. Federal.
But the one in DC, right.
Yep.
He said he was also told he couldn't exercise his First Amendment right to free speech by saying bad things about CPS. Bullshit.
They actually took Sharon's kids over that. They said that they had great concerns over that she was coaching the kids because all the kids said they hated CPS. Guess they're really going to hate when we file that Tennessee Court of Appeals, and then we put it on the record in fucking Kentucky, and they find out, oh, I guess you're really going to do that because that overturns everything. Yeah. I guess they have a reason to hate you.
Yeah. I hate CPS too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Alicia says, I paid thousands of dollars for my attorney to look me in the eye and tell me we were losing TPR before the trial even started and didn't ask anything. I told him to and fucked me on my appeal.
Yeah, well, I tell people, I fired. It used to be, they would say, if you fire your attorney, there's something wrong with you. No, there's something wrong with him or her, not me. And the law is public, by the way. Okay, so don't let anybody tell you that you don't know the law because it's very easy to read. It's common sense. If you read the Constitution and you get good at the Constitution and the Bill of Rights,
it's common law.
Well, listen, you can look at the shit and say, "Oh, this is unconstitutional." Even the Supreme Court has already said, even if a code, statute, rule, regulation, or policy looks like part of it is lawful, but part of it is not, it's unlawful. The whole thing is unlawful and cannot be enforced.
We had on our show, I think it was that was brought up, that something that when people said, hey, they won't accept my appeal. They said, because I have an attorney, I have to go through this.
No.
I said, well, no. And if they take it out under appeal, you go to the next highest court, which is the Supreme Court.
Appeal is a matter of right. You can always appeal.
Yes. But to say because you're representative, you have to make sure you clarify. I'm doing this pro se.
Sui juris.
Sui juris. Yours.
What's up with all these goddamn words that I can't pronounce? They're not even English.
Well,
Latin.
Tiff,
What? Huh?
Well, we can Latin.
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Roman Empire, baby. Oh wait, what? Greek and Latin.
Now I'm Greek, okay, and most of everything that
still can't
came
read
from
it.
the Greeks, they implement over here. So don't be knocking the Greeks because we brought America. We brought a lot of shit to America, like the Olympics
Listen.
Like
and,
baklava.
and baklava and grape
Euros.
leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, euros. Everybody calls them gyro, but it's euros. We
Oh
brought.
God, I love a
Oh, I
euro.
know.
They're
Listen,
nasty.
man. I
So,
will take a Greek euro any day over a Pakistani euro.
Well, I tell you what.
Well, that's
if
called
you
falafel,
all-
isn't it?
If you all ever come to my house, I will make you stuffed grape leaves.
Different
And
thing.
I tell you what, y'all will slap whoever's standing beside you. Okay.
That sounds like a challenge.
That is a challenge. I'm making them for Thanksgiving.
RFIR 8802. You can find on my show, it's Gunning, Gunning, the number 4, CPS at yahoo.com if you want to shoot me an email. Because sometimes I don't know who pops up in here and what names you're under.
That's our boy Brian.
Okay. You can shoot me an email on that, and yeah, that's cool. Just send it to me that way. Or if we're friends on Facebook or something like that, just shoot me a DM. John, as far as Canada is concerned, yes, they are totally in the bar. This is why Canada is collapsing on the national scale. And I know we do a lot of stuff here in America, and on my show we do international stuff and reporting, but Canada is actually imploding because of what it is. It has gone to a democracy type society. Once again, we have a constitutional republic. We do not have a democracy. Let's make sure that there's a difference. We have a democratic process, but we do not have a democracy here in this country. But Canada has overdone that. Everybody pushed of, oh, they have one healthcare system and all this other stuff and this and that in Canada. And look how good it is in Canada. Canada is collapsing because of these policies and procedures on top of their immigration policy. This is why the western side of Canada is looking to become the 51st, possibly the 51st state of the United States.
No, don't get Canada fired up on that.
Well, now there's talks, and this is going on, and this is going on the news, but there are still things, and the people have the ability to secede. The way that particular territory is structured, and their contract law is with Canada. We have to understand too that when America was, I'm not going to use the word discovered, but colonized on multi different fronts. We had the French, we had the English, we had the Spanish. So we have a lot of influence through our country of different things, and all those home countries have always fought for power and control of what happens on this continent. What we did that was dumb and just stupid, foolish, is the original tribes that were here. We could have learned so much from those that had been here for possibly hundreds or thousands of years, to where we wouldn't have had issues the way that we had issues as this country grew. We made it more painful for honors. It's self-inflicted pain. Had we not utilized our resources, and we're still learning that lesson today because that history is not taught properly, that we need to learn from our mistakes and utilize our resources, network, find the best things for it. Because the idea of America was a melting pot. Okay. Greek, Irish, Scottish, English, Spanish, whatever it may be, from one of the different tribes that were here, Mexicanos, Aztecs, Mesas, all those different ones and all over the country. The idea is that we could all blend together in this country, live peacefully, find common ground, and the best of all of our cultures rise to the top and better each other to be a much stronger country than any other country out in this entire world. But instead, we're turned against each other. We're pointed, we're constantly about our differences more than our similarities and our common goals. And we've lost sight of what brought us together as we the people. And you guys have got to understand the American Revolution only happened, and this is a scary thing, when only 3% of this country stood up and said no more. Only 3%. And we are known across this nation, and it's being stripped from us over and over again. It was known even to Japan before they bombed Pearl Harbor. Behind every blade of grass, there's at least a weapon. Nowadays, there's at least, 4 or 5, AR-15s and a hunting rifle and a pistol. And we outnumber the American hunter, just the American hunter of 2 states, outnumbers every military in the world. Now you include all the other 48, they don't stand a chance. Now, on top of that, add our veterans. This is why we are a country, and the way everything, even down to the military, was designed the way it was in this country, so that we, the people, retain the power. But when you have them pass things to where we can't recall politicians in certain states or certain areas, or hold people accountable, hey, you're screwing up even though you're so far into your term. And this is what Canada's dealing with their prime minister and a lot of other things, let alone corruption. Listen, we've got questions about these voting machines. Now it's all, and the mass corruption is coming out and coming out. Why? Because there wasn't a sense of accountability. One of our founding fathers said something that I'll never forget. When the government fears the people, you will have a republic. But when the people fear the government, we will have tyranny. And I want you to think about that as that came to our founding fathers, as they wrote that Constitution, that they knew this. They had the foresight to understand we would eventually in this country deal with it. And they gave us a way to deal with it, to shake off the chains of tyranny and say enough. So what if it collapses everything around with financial this and that? I would rather be free and poor. And here's the other thing. We're not even poor. We're not poor at all. Matter of fact, when they took away and substituted the art of the trade, material from material, and said you had to use money so they could tax it, we lost our freedoms. Because if Tiff is over here and got 50 euros, and I'm talking euros, not the food, and I'm over here and I've got, say, I've got some, Tennessee moonshine, and Tiff turns around and says, hey, I like some of that Tennessee moonshine. Well, let's barter. Let's come to the table and negotiate. And there's the other thing we've lost, is the art of debate in this country. And that's what was shown here when they killed Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. The man brought debate back to this country to have a rational, non-violent, let's have a discussion and let's reason this out. They killed a man over that. And that's all we're trying to do with some of this other stuff, is trying to get people to listen, try to look at the other side. Yes, we have our opinions, but we can back up a lot of those opinions, or why we feel so strongly with the way we believe in this and that, based off of our experiences and the facts. And another piece of thing that I was always told to, and this was always funny, and this one hit kind of hard, is that, a man with an experience is never at the mercy with a person with an argument. Oh. We have wisdom all around us and in our documents and everything else, but we would much rather be entertained by what's next on Big Brother, what's next on the YouTube, what's next on this, what's next on this, and all these things are distractions to get you away from the core things of who we are as a nation, let alone who our families are. How the hell did it get this far? Because to be honest with you, when these bastards came in and they start marching in your house, well, I have a right to come in your house, you'd splatter their damn brains all over the damn front door.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, and it would be constitutionally sound to do so. No warrant, no court order, and no probable cause. I'm here to do an investigation. Well, the Fifth Amendment says I also have the right not to participate. And if you're going to force my hand to make me participate, you have to have probable cause and you have to give a sworn statement to go get this. And even they're manipulating that too, that you have Article 4 courts. Article 4 courts that are issuing court orders and warrants to come into homes that are not even legally allowed to do it because you guys don't know how to take. And a lot of us out there don't know that. This is why we do this, to educate you. They don't have the authority or power to even put their pen to the paper. It has to be in Article 3. That's the law. Well, how do I know? Go look at your county website. It will tell you what kind of courtroom or judge they're assigned to. And Article 4 judge does not have the power to enter home. Look it up. But they beat you on ignorance. I mean, how many people, Tiff knows? How many times have people, kids have been taken away, this and that, or a court order's been this and that, and it doesn't have the judge's ink signature, not a stamp, not an auto pen, has the court clerk's seal with the court clerk's signature. Those three things are required.
Most of the people that I've helped over the years, they didn't even get that far to a court order. The first thing they said is either you let us in or we're taking your kids, and that was enough to scare the hell out of anybody.
Mom, you just scared.
Because our Second Amendment has been questioned across this country for decades now. Instead of us demonstrating exactly what we should be doing and making a point, it doesn't matter that badge, that this, that. You violate that thing, your immunity, your job, and everything else is stripped of you when you break that law. Pow. No,
I don't think
electronic
signatures are good either.
That was over. That was just for COVID. During a certain time, there was an exception, but even that was overturned. I know a lot of them started doing that, but there are rulings on it. It must be wet ink. Believe it or not, it actually has to be a certain color or colors on certain documents. Mr. Obsidian, if you don't know, I see he's out there. If that's our buddy Obsidian out there, which I believe it is, he done a whole special on this, on the different parts of the inks and what they mean. You can't use red. You can't use purple. You can't use this. You got to use a certain color ink. It's mandatory. But you don't know that. And these cops sure as hell don't know that. I mean, hell, they took Sharon's kids with no judge's signature, black, electronic with what they had, no wet ink, only 2 removal orders, yet 3 kids, and yet wouldn't let her take the third one. Well, we're working on it. That ain't the way it works. And there was no court seal. No court clerk. It was filed the next day. Oh, it's in case of emergencies. No. Your officers for the court clerk's office, you are supposed to, by law, have somebody available 24 hours a day for emergency cases.
Even in an emergency situation, and I know we've read the paperwork on here because I sent it to Gunnar and Darren. I sent it to everybody that night. Even an emergency does not trump the Constitution. It does not give them permission to do anything.
Nope. It must be imminent danger. Now, a lot of people's kids have been removed under this thing, imminent danger. And the definition of that, and Derek, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
What does imminent danger mean? Let's
Life,
All
define
hell is
that.
breaking loose. All hell is breaking loose, man.
life,
Sirens and things.
limb,
Immediate
and immediate.
physical harm.
You are going to die right now.
If I don't intercede, somebody's going to lose a life or limb.
You are going to die right now.
Does it meet that standard when removing the children? Nobody was in harm's way. They stole Sharon's children just to do an investigation.
Hmm.
They had, what was the term? It was concerns
Insinuated. Insinuated. It wasn't even a real
it's
situation. It was
insinuated.
insinuated.
Yeah. That doesn't meet the definition.
And,
Well, judges do it all the time.
insinuated, an insinuation and an allegation are not crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other part of that with it, all this other stuff that comes through. Well, my judge just let it through here in the Joker courtroom. So take that decision and move it to the appellate court. You realize you can take once a judge or magistrate makes a decision or ruling and puts inks to paper with any kind of order, you have the ability to go straight to the appellate court and overturn it. Oh, your lawyer didn't tell you that, did they? Every single thing that comes out of that judge's mouth, taking it to the appellate court, and I'm going to argue it of what code it broke, or how you didn't follow this, or how you didn't follow this, and hold them to the rules, because these lawyers out here, they're paper pushers, and they're just doing what's in it. Why? Because they weren't trained any other way. This is why they hate guys that do trades, and I wish Henry was on here too, because he'll tell you the same thing. This is why an apprenticeship is so important, to work under somebody in the trade to see how it's done and how it's done properly with the codes. Because the code, our NEC code, our plumbing codes, our HVAC codes, they're guidelines. You have to apply the code to the situation. Oh,
And we all know they lie about situations.
Everything's a goddamn lie.
yeah.
Say it again. Nobody heard you.
I said everything's a goddamn lie out here right now.
Burn it down. So this
Burn
is
it down.
why
You know what? That's the only answer, man.
it's the only thing. And this is why I'm going to disagree with people. And this was brought up during one of you guys' show, and I was in the audience with things. Sometimes YouTube messes up and I get backstage just to watch the shows. But some people on here don't want abolishment. They want reform. And let me explain why. And I know you guys agree with me, because we've had that conversation over and over again. Because if that system was abolished, some of these advocates and some of these other people have got hero complex syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
That if they ever abolish that system, they would lose every bit of clout and every good of make feel good that they get day in, day out, or week after week. And it would all be gone, and they would waste away into the nothingness of an average everyday person. There would be nothing special about them. And this is the same system that CPS pumps these people full of, is called hero complex. It's a psychological term that gives somebody the mentality of thinking they're rescuing somebody, and they can literally get addicted to it. Because here's the thing. And we see this even within our heroes. Even Superman dealt with this. What happens when Superman's dead and Superman's gone? What do we do now? The heroes are gone. Guys, the things with comic.
Kind of your voice went out. Yeah.
Huh.
There you go. Say it again.
Comic books and everything else we see within our heroes, whether they're made up or not, goes directly to human nature. That we want to save somebody, we want to make a difference, we want our lives to mean something. And we all have a sense of greatness, to which we need to be humble. Because the greatest thing we could ever do is not save the world, is to love and protect our families and to raise our children. It's the greatest thing we could ever do. Ever. Not save millions, not find the next cure for this, and that. Enough to know that a child is raised, loved, and cared for, and ready to face this world, this weird world as it ever changes throughout time and technology, and do the best we can, and hang our heads at the end of the day, at the end of our journey, and said, I've done all I can, and I've done enough, and I can go in peace. But too many want so much, visions of grandeur. It's pushed on us all the time within Hollywood and this, that. Look at the nice cars, look at the nice dresses like this. Man, my grandmother used to tell stories of when they were growing up during the Great Depression, this and that. Says, we didn't have much. We had just enough to eat sometimes, and we didn't have the prettiest of things. But at least we had each other and we had family. And that was everything in the world. Where we had family reunions, it's where we were taught some of our heritage, our culture, the sacrifices of those that had gone before us, that had done to share their time and their stories. This is what we've done to get you to where you are today. But we're being robbed of that. And that's what I think it comes down to, is we focused on everything else. We forgot how to love each other a little bit and focus on what's truly important, the American family. It's the very core of this country. All I got to say. Love you guys.
When Tiff and the Punisher are hosting their show, rally around them, let's get up and go. They give us the strength to fight for our rights. Tiff and the Punisher are here to give you strength. We want you to get in the fight. Your kids will never say goodnight without you in their side. As long as Tiff and the Punisher have something to say, don't give up. We are all here for your strength. Your Lord high in the sky. Tiff and the Punisher by your side. And your kids wait patiently for you to arrive. Don't give up your fight. What APS is doing isn't right. So don't waste another day. Put your broken feelings away. Stand with Tiff and the Punisher. Give up and fight.
We know it's all about the money, we know they lie, we know this is corruption. Does CPS know what they are doing to the children?
Imagine being a child who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stop the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they mightest feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.